It's the night before Halloween, and after being tricked the past 2 weeks, the Broncos are looking for a treat in KC.
Guys are, frankly embarrassed with what we put out there. We got to play better. I got to play better, and everybody knows that.
Jamal Charles takes a trip around the old block and plans to haunt the Chiefs for letting him go.
I think I've proven people I still can play right now, and I still can play with anybody.
On defense, no costume is required as it tries to put a scare into the Chiefs' offense.
The games just get bigger and bigger, so this is our next game. This is a huge game for us.
Get your candy corn ready. The Broncos pregame show starts right now. A windy late October night in Kansas City. What a better time to get the season back on track. For the 7th time in this storied series, the Broncos and Chiefs meet on Monday Night Football. Both of these teams come into this game having lost 2 straight. One of them will leave feeling much better, and while the other one, not so much. Hello, and thank you for joining us for the Broncos TV pregame show. I'm Phil Milani. We have a lot to get to before kickoff, including a one-on-one with head coach Vance Joseph. But first, let's check in with the team as they made their way inside Arrowhead Stadium as Jamal Charles makes his return to Kansas City tonight.
What's up with it?
You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. Man, I just want to win. That's it.
Yeah.
It's good, Will.
Yeah. You already know what time it is, man. You know what time it is. It's the big one right here. Time to get it done. That's what time it is.
Appreciate it, man. How you feeling? Feel good, man. Look good, play good, on that prime time. How that go? It's good, dog. It's good. We got to get this win. It's a big one. Let's get it. Yo, Shane back home.
Oh, yeah. You know why I'm here. Simple. Dictate and dominate. That's what I do. Monday Night Footballs. Don't get no better than that.
The guys are locked in and ready to go, and they've been practicing all week with crowd noise pumped in as they get ready for the atmosphere here tonight. Arrowhead Stadium, one of the loudest venues in the entire NFL. For more, now let's check in with Matt Boyer as he does a one-on-one with head coach Vance Joseph.
Coach, we've heard all week from guys the need to step up, facing some adversity. Last week we heard from guys like Demaryius Thomas. Not just one guy needs to step up, everybody needs to step up. What kind of response have you seen from your team this week?
It's been awesome. Practice has been really engaged. Everybody's practicing and working with urgency. Okay, and that's what it's going to take to turn this thing.
When you see a matchup like the Chiefs, a division-leading team, however, the guys in their locker room, they like this matchup. They say, we look forward to this environment. We look forward to this. What are the areas of focus that you've been keying in on this week?
Well, this week, just to play our best game we can and to get off to a great start. Our last 3 losses, we've gotten behind so quick. We haven't had a chance to win a football game. So our sole focus Monday night is to start fast.
Coach, best of luck.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you very much, Matt. And now we're joined by Broncos senior reporter Andrew Mason with his matchup to watch for tonight. And Mace, the Broncos come in with the top-ranked defense. Meanwhile, the Chiefs have the second-best offense.
Second-best offense, but on a per-possession basis, the most efficient offense. And a big part of the reason why is their playmakers. Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Kareem Hunt. Really pick your poison situation for opposing defense is going against 3 playmakers that can be game breakers on any given play.
Yeah, we know that Tyreek Hill, he's an explosive player. He had the big play against the Broncos last year. Travis Kelce, the big play here too last year on Christmas night. How do they stop the big plays, Mace?
Well, the thing you've got to do is control them. Look, they're going to get their yards from time to time, but you've got to make sure that when they do get into space, you minimize the damage, that the explosive gains are 15 to 20 yards, not 70 plus. This Chiefs team in particular, you go over the last 2 years, they have 19 touchdowns of 40 or more yards. That's in all 3 phases, defense, offense, special teams. Nobody else coming into this weekend had more than 12 such touchdowns. That shows you the kind of explosiveness that this Chiefs team has. So you've got to make sure you minimize the damage when those guys get into space, force them to drive the entire field, not get the yardage in those huge chunks. And then, if they're in the red zone, they're operating in a short field. They've had some trouble there this year.
And we know that they do some gimmicky stuff. They do some college spread type stuff. How can the Broncos be aware of those type of plays?
Well, you've got to learn to expect the unexpected and play your game, and then react on each play to what they're doing. And then when they do get into space, the first guy there may have to hold up Travis Kelce or Kareem Hunt or Tyreek Hill, and then wait for help to arrive. And the other thing, the Broncos, they've worked a little more on zone coverages this year than in other years, and that may help them tonight because that makes them less susceptible to the pick routes and rub stuff that teams like to run, that Kansas City did effectively last year. And then on special teams, you got to make sure everybody's in their lane, not caught out of position, and you can't afford any punts like Riley Dixon had last week, low line drivers that Tyreek Hill could take to the house.
Yeah, special teams, another area to watch for tonight. Mase, thank you very much. You can find Andrew on Orange and Blue 760 weekdays from 10 to noon for First and 10 at 10, or at Mase Denver on Twitter, or even the old-fashioned way on DenverBroncos.com. Who knows, maybe the Broncos will be moving up Mase's power rankings this week. Now let's hear from the defense on how they plan to slow down this Chiefs team, starting with Von Miller, who is the second fastest player to reach 80 career sacks.
The best at what they do. Alex Smith, MVP type season. You got Tyreek Hill, playing out of his mind. Kelce, offensive line. Everybody's firing on all cylinders. We gotta play one of our best games, and just go out there and play Bronco football, and we'll be all right.
The thing with when you play teams that have, talent at multiple positions, you have to pick and choose what you're going to do. Because if you turn all your attention to one guy, now you got two or three other guys that are one-on-one, or you create holes in your defense. You're not as stout versus the run.
We match up against this team very well in what they do and what we do well. And planning on stopping the run is key, first off. Then being able to attack Alex Smith and how he, the quick passes, the deep passes, that's where rushing coverage come in together.
You heard from Shane Ray there. He's been waiting for tonight for a long time as he makes his season debut in Kansas City, his hometown. In his locker, he's had a calendar up on the wall. He's been crossing out the days until he makes his season debut, and this morning he was activated from IR to the active roster. So it should be a big night for Shane Ray. For more, let's go to Matt Boyer once again, who's standing by inside the Broncos locker room.
Thanks, Phil. Welcome inside the Broncos locker room. The equipment staff behind me making their last-minute adjustments before today's game. Now, for the Broncos, this one is big. An AFC West divisional game always is, but it's also important for a guy like Jamal Charles. We're going to hear from Charles in a little bit to see what it feels like to come back into this stadium after so many years as a Chief, but it's also important to get Charles going early for the Broncos on the offensive side of the ball. The running game is going to be crucial. If the Broncos can get the running game going early, that's going to open things up for the passing game. Guys like Demaryius Thomas on the edge, look for him to play an important role, especially in the first half. On the defensive side of the ball, another homecoming, Shane Ray, expected to make his 2017 debut for the Broncos after being out with a wrist injury. He comes home to Kansas City playing in front of his hometown fans. We talked to him yesterday at the hotel. He said that he expects to see half of Arrowhead Stadium there just to see him. However, his family and friends won't be rooting for the Broncos, although they do hope he does have a good game, of course. The Broncos are going to count on him heavily to open things up for guys like Von Miller. If he can take some of the pressure off Miller, Barrett, Wolf, if the Broncos can get pressure on Alex Smith, expect things to get tough for the Chiefs in the passing game. The Broncos defense can really thrive there. Keep it tuned to DenverBroncos.com. After today's game, Phil and myself will, of course, be live inside the Broncos locker room. And we will also have head coach Vance Joseph and Trevor Siemian at the podium live. But for now, Phil, we'll send it back to you on the field.
Thank you very much, Matt. And as bad as the past couple of weeks have been, with a win tonight, the Broncos would be just half a game out of the lead in the West. For the keys to tonight's game, let's go to Broncos insider Steve Atwater.
Thanks, Phil. And here are the keys to the game. The first key, establish the run game. The Broncos are 3-0 when we've rushed the ball 32 or more times in a game, and we're winless when we haven't. When we rush the ball effectively, we're able to control the clock, control the flow of the game, and also keep that potent Kansas City offense on the sidelines. The second key is to win the turnover battle. The Broncos have won 31 consecutive games when we've won the turnover battle. They need to do that by the offense doing a great job of protecting the ball, holding on to the ball. Trevor Siemian protecting the ball when he's in the pocket. And on the defensive side of the ball, going for the strip sacks, going for the strips, and also holding on to interceptions when you have the opportunity to get the ball. The third key is to contain Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is the Kansas City Chiefs' return man / receiver. He's already scored 4 explosive touchdowns this year. We have to do that by corralling him, getting many guys on the football, and on return teams, staying in our lanes and gang tackling. Back to you, Phil.
Thank you very much, Steve, and a happy belated birthday to you. You can find Steve on Orange and Blue 760 with Mase and Ryan Edwards, Monday through Friday for First and 10 at 10, or on the Broncos YouTube page with me every weekday morning for Good Morning Broncos Country. And now we're back here field level with Matt Boyer. And Matt, Chiefs fans are well aware of Steve Atwater. We're just standing a few feet away here from when Atwater deflected an Elvis Gerback pass, game-sealing deflection, and the Broncos, of course, went on to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's funny because, outside, you mentioned it, they went on to win the Super Bowl, and then a couple of levels above that space is Christian Okoye's name.
Oh, yeah,
and
exactly.
I don't think Steve Atwater goes a day in his life without being reminded of that hit. So, Steve has definitely haunted Chiefs Kingdom for quite some time.
Yeah, that's sure. Matt, tonight is going to be a very emotional game for Jamal Charles as he makes his return here.
Yeah, I got a chance to see Jamal as he walked in today. We had heard all week long about how emotional this game was going to be for him. He was wearing a dark green suit walking down the tunnel today. He said he felt good. He was happy to be here, but I know it's going to be tough for him. We see it a lot that guys, when they return to their former teams, you don't know what kind of reception that you're going to get. But he was a great player here. I think the Chiefs fans are going to give him a nice, warm reception. Chiefs fans actually cheered when he got off the bus coming down the tunnel, so that was a cool thing to see. I'm excited to see what he can do. He's going to play a big role with that Broncos rushing game.
Yeah, he was drafted here in 2008, and his stats are crazy. I mean, he's the Chiefs' all-time leading rusher. He's the highest rushing average in NFL history, 5.43 yards per carry. And Charles said he might cry tonight, but he's trying to treat it just like any other game.
Yeah, I think I proved that week 1, suiting up, and now every week suiting up. But, you know what I'm saying, I just hope I continue to make plays, and that's what it's about, and make plays for the Denver Broncos, and I want to do that every week. Other 2 teams that looked at me, looked at my knees and said, basically, you know what I'm saying, you should retire, basically, we don't want you right now. But I think I've proven people I still can play right now, and I still can play with anybody, and I'm just keep showing that, you know what I'm saying. That is the light and the fuel in me and keep that spark inside me.
Charles needs just 44 yards tonight to become the 10th active player to reach the 10,000-yard mark. So a big night for Jamal Charles here tonight. Matt, time to put a bow on this show. Your final thought.
I think we talked about Jamal Charles' return. How about Shane Ray's return to Kansas City? I think he's going to make his 2017 debut in grand fashion, and he needs to if the Broncos are going to limit the opportunities that Alex Smith has to find Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. So a big opportunity here for Shane Ray to kind of take some of that pressure off Von Miller and Shaq Barrett.
I'm going to say win the turnover battle. We know the stat. The Broncos have won 31 consecutive games when they won the turnover battle. It's been a problem of late. If they can get that corrected tonight, keep this crowd out of it, then maybe they'll have a chance to beat the Chiefs here tonight. Okay, that's going to do it for us. We'll be back live post-game inside the locker room and at the podium. But until then, this has been the Broncos TV pregame show.
Into the end zone. Pass is going to be knocked